Scott for getting both time of the green as well as Mark Huberman in a post-game interview last night. Now it's time for the front office report here as we get set for Game 2 at Cardines Field, joined by Newport Gulls General Manager Chuck Faber. Chuck, how are you?
Good, Nick. Good to see you. Good to see you.
You didn't have to leave the time zone, but just got off a jet plane and had a couple days off here as a very important moment for your family.
Yeah, very. It's bittersweet, surreal. Brought my son to college today, a couple days ago, down in Florida, to the school that I went to. So it had a little extra sentimental value there, so to speak. But situated him, and the end of the story is he's ready, and we're proud of him, and it's time for the next phase of his life, and hopefully he gets an opportunity to play some college baseball like I did.
Of course, Chuck, Chris Faber was always a fixture here at Cardines Field with a part of the grounds crew. Even help us out with the broadcast every now and then.
Chris, when you really look back at the history, I've raised my kids on this baseball field with these teams, and over the years they've developed such great relationships that will last them a lifetime. And they communicate with all of our former Gulls, and particularly Chris was attached to this team, as he has been every year. The last night he was here, he wanted to go spend it with these guys, and that's what he did. He's very close to these guys, and I think they appreciate him, and this is where he was raised. So, I'm just pleased for him.
Chris, like so many young people, get to see this team get attached to it, but the players get attached to each other, get attached to this ballpark. It's always bittersweet when they leave for the summer, but they've chosen to stick around here a little extra longer, coming from one game down to beat the Ocean State Waves, their in-state rival.
It's a tough grind, Nick, and we always talk about, the commitment and the difficulty of playing a long summer season after their college seasons, particularly guys who go deep into the regionals and the World Series. And some of these guys, I'm sure, are anxious to get home. Some of these young kids are freshmen. They haven't been home since they left, like my son. So putting myself in their footsteps, I understand. But this is what they do and make a commitment to. And quite frankly, I am so impressed beyond words can explain what these young guys have done, grinded it out, stayed here through adversity, fought. Now, we've lost some kids who gave up on us for whatever reason. That's their reason. They wanted to go home. They went home. They're not part of this team anymore. But these guys stuck it out. They stayed tight. They're a family, and they don't want to go home until this is over. And, it's showing on the field. And I'm just, I've had a lot of teams here, Nick, and what I'm seeing right now is the character of this team is just starting to really show why they're as good as they are right now.
The Newport Gulls have won 3 straight playoff games. At the moment, a 1 win away from their 3rd division title in a row. Over these last 3 games, Chuck, the Gulls have had at least 14 hits in each game, including matching a season-high 17 hits in Game 3 against Ocean State. The bats have been red hot in picking up starting pitchers, regardless of whether or not they give up early runs. And that's really allowed the pitching staff to settle down and really go deep into ball games.
I don't have the answer to that, Nick. I always tell you that it's important to be playing your best baseball at the end, yes. Have we been playing our best baseball at the end of our season? Not particularly. We had a little stretch run where we run 6 in a row, and then we had a game we lost. But we did certainly play a lot better. But I really believe what's happening right now is we've lost a lot of guys. And now the guys that are here are just like, hey, it's my opportunity. I'm going to take advantage of it. And that's exactly what they believe in themselves. They're getting more confident. A kid like Tyler Green, I'm just so proud of that kid. He redshirted at school, came here, fight through adversity, didn't play a lot in the beginning, and her injuries didn't help him, and so on and so on. But he's just like stepping it up and picking these guys up, with the rest of these guys. It's beautiful to watch. I'm so proud of him.
Meanwhile, Chuck, the Gulls return to Mike Mancuso here in Game 2 to start the ball game.
Hey, it's his turn. He's got adequate rest. He's got a great character. He's passionate. He wants to win, and listen, it takes a team to win, and this is what we're going to do.
Never want to predict the future, Chuck. The Sanford Mainers had a tough battle with the Keene Swamp Bats. They swept the favorite, the Vermont Mountaineers. They await the winner of this series here. And if the Newport Gulls can win here tonight, that would mean Game 1 would start instead tomorrow back here at Cardines Field against Sanford.
That's correct. Listen, we have a lot of history with those northern teams. naturally with the Gulls having the success we've had in the past. So when you see Sanford, it's going to be a familiar face. Listen, they've won 2 championships right here in our ballpark. So whether we call it revenge or not, that'll be remaining to be seen, because the most important thing is tonight's game. One game at a time in the championship, Nick, in the playoffs.
So Newport Gulls had a tough July, one of the toughest Julys, in fact, in franchise history. You've already said June, spring training, July is the season. The Gulls are red hot in June, but really had a tough time in July. Turn it around towards the end of the month, that 6-game winning streak. Turn it around here again in the playoffs. Did you expect this from this team?
I didn't. No, look, when I saw what I saw in July, I wasn't sure. And I wasn't sure because then I started having guys tell me they wanted to go home. Never had that before, Nick. In 14 years I've been running this club, I've lost 7 guys, some of them injuries or for whatever reason. But in the end of the day, I've never lost this many kids, maybe 1 in the past. So I wasn't sure about the character. I was like, I'm not sure if these kids are really committed. So now I'm seeing what's left here, and these guys are committed. They don't want to go home. And maybe through attrition, maybe through some of that attitude that they weren't sure about being here, we kind of weeded out the guys who didn't want to be here, and now we've got the guys who want to be here, and it's showing.
Newport Gulls General Manager Chuck Paper. We get set for Game 2 tonight. Good luck for the Gulls.
Thanks, Nick. Thanks for your time.
Thanks for joining us for the Front Office Report. Our pregame show continues. Coming up next, the Gulls Eye View, the Gulls Insider, the Manager Show, and the rest of our pregame show as we get set for Game 2 of the NECBL Southern Division Championship Series here on the NECBL Broadcast Network.